that. I must say I'm very honored to speak to you.
Thank you, me too.
No, because I was many times in Aleppo and in Syria to cover the war and to see what's happening with the people there. And this document that you made struck me really because it showed us, or it shows us, the face of people in war. So what made you decide to do this, to make this movie?
So thank you so much first for having me. I'm really honored and glad that the film is really spreading in different places, and also to talk to you, to all your work before. I mean, the film was something made, I would say, naturally. It was something I lived through, and I felt the importance of saving this because I know at that time that at any second we could be all killed, and that's the only thing which will stay. The regime was trying to deny all the revolution from minute one, and they were trying to say there's nothing happening in Syria, and we've seen the truth in our own eyes, and we had real responsibility to save this and to keep it for us, for our children, for the next generation. And unfortunately, so far, after 9 years of what happened in Syria, it started as a peaceful protest to change our life for better. Now the situation is very complicated, and half of our nation are displaced. But the only thing we still have until today is our narrative and our story. And that's why I think we had to do it, and we have to do it, and we have to keep doing this too.
But did you start with filming and with your testimonies in 2011 when the uprising started?
So since the protests started in Syria, I joined the protest. The first protest, I was just literally not even chanting. I was just freezing out in my place, watching what's happening. And from the second protest I was in, I started to film by my phone. And at that time, we had no understanding of how films or media or all of this stuff, but we knew that the regime is just saying there's nothing happening. So it was kind of natural or automatic respond to that. And I was filming just everything, anything. It doesn't matter to be really something related to the just a protest, because we felt that anything we were doing at that time, it was something present, that we are people who seeking for better future, for a normal life. And then with the time when I moved to east part of Aleppo and I start to see the shelling and the bombing, that was when I really understand that this is the only thing I can do, and this is the only thing will really save the story.
Can you describe, because what I remember from Aleppo is the barrel bombs falling from the sky.
Yeah.
And the regime denied even that they were using it.
Yeah, I mean, they were denying this. And for us, as I was maybe 23 when I first saw a barrel bomb. And I mean, you can't believe, you can't understand that this is really happening. You see that and you see the death on the ground, but you still feel oh, I can't really understand that there's anyone in this world could do that to anyone else. So yeah, I mean, the barrel bomb was something we changed kind of our life when we start to know what when the helicopter is coming, the sound that cause when it starts to fall down, and then the big explosion that's happening, and the effect of that on people's lives, on buildings, on schools, on hospitals. And I mean, the violence and the crimes that the regime has done since the beginning of the revolution until today. I mean, it's really you can't count them. And yeah, one of them was the barrel bomb, not just because it's a weapon, but also because it was made by very, I mean, simple materials we had all maybe in our homes.
Can you describe a barrel bomb? What is it? Because
yeah,
people
I mean,
does not know.
They bring anything kind of barrel or something, any maybe it could be trash, where we put the bin here, for an example, and they fill it with any material could make could hurt or something, any small
nails and yes.
Yeah, sometimes even coins, and they put I don't know, like which kind of explosion material. And then when they drop this from very high like place, and then the explosion happened, all these small tiny things, like it killed people. So I mean, the way that how they even like dealing with this, it was just something like very hard to believe.
Is this kind of a symbol for fear? Was this the main feeling in Aleppo then?
Yeah, I mean, in 2014, you can just like see the people of Aleppo and so many other places in Syria. All the time, they're just like their head up to the sky, like waiting and trying to chase, you know, like where is the barrel bomb, where it's coming to, and this stuff. And the basement at that time, it became like kind of our homes, because like you can't just like really be all the time up in the sun or in the street, because like this barrel bomb is really like finishing our lives all.
Can you describe how was your feeling? Because you had to decide, because you decided to stay there with the doctor, with your husband, and go to the basement. How was life?
So I mean, like, it might be very hard for people here to understand, but for us there, like, this is our country, this is our city, this is the place that we were in, and we believe that, you know, like, if we didn't do this, like, where is Syria going to? Like, what is the new future for us if we didn't fight for our country and for our rights? So for me, like, it was kind of like a decision which I took without really questioning myself a lot about should I do this or not. I mean, for me, it was very obvious that, yeah, I had to be in this place. I have to do anything I was able to do. And I think so many other people, especially the activists who were part of the peaceful demonstration. But then when you look at this situation and you see, like, maybe I not even can protect myself to protect any other people, and you had that struggle all the time into your mind, like, should I stay, should I leave? And I mean, it's really hard to take both decisions, and so many people who left, they come back later. So many people who stayed, they have been killed, and or their families, they've been suffering a lot from what's happening. So there's no right or wrong in this decision, but it's more about what can you, or what are you able to do, or how long have you been able, like, are you able to bear with this situation? And I decided to stay because I felt that this is part of my responsibility. And I had Hamza with me, who was also like very like sure, you know, like he was very confident that, yeah, this is what we gonna do. And because he was a doctor, so he was able to do something to these people. You can see this influence and this like uh, change that he's able to do, even if it's individually, like, or by just a couple of individual people. But it was something very important for me, having the camera and being able to talk to people, to live with them. That was also something I was feeling like the importance of that. And I, to be really honest, in some places we felt like we kind of like desperate, and we hopeless, we can't do anything, helpless sometimes. But you always have that moments of something will happen and will give you so much hope that you are here, you're doing something very good, and you have to keep going. And I think people who have seen the film, one of the scenes which is like give me energy and strength maybe to the whole of my life, the baby born, who was like born after a bump. And when this baby like opened his eyes, for me, like, that moment was like enough, like for me, for everything I lived before, and maybe for everything I will even see next.
But getting a child in hell, it's in these circumstances, it's a very paradox. It's what a kind of feeling must that be?
Yeah, I mean, there is so much like struggle even when we were thinking about having a child and how to do this. But in one point, we were feeling that, like, the hope that Aleppo will be a free city and Syria will be a free country is something like very close to. And we had that feeling also that, yeah, there is death around us, there is suffering, but we are able to create this life under that circumstances. We weren't sure that we will be able to, like, to protect someone or protect ourselves, but we were sure that, like, we are doing everything for the next generation, for this people. And if we stayed for Aleppo, like in Aleppo for the whole of our life, what are we waiting for? We both had that decision that we will stay here, we will do our best to gain that future. So Sama is just like part of that. And I mean, in some places I felt like what I'm doing here, why I did that. But at the end of the day, when you look at the face, like for any child, not just Sama, but like for Sama in this situation, we were feeling that like we are really stronger than anything is happening. And like whatever the regime is trying to do, they are trying to kill, they are trying to destroy. But while we are like bringing life, we are building, we are like having hope, and we will like stay alive for that.
What is the meaning of the word sama?
So Sama means sky, and sky, like for us as Syrian, as I think as so many other like elements in our life, the sky for us brings death at that time, even like today in Idlib and in the last areas out of the regime control. The sea for us also is bringing death. Instead of like being enjoying the sea, now we just see the sea as something like who brings refugee and bring death. I think like anything we had before, like the nice and the amazing like feeling of hope and relaxing, it's became like something bad. And we wanted just like to keep this name as we really like wanted. We love. We will ignore all this airplanes or the shelling. We will just remember the sky as something really, I mean, good. And that's why we decided to name Sama like sky.
How old is Sama now?
So she's now 4.5.
Uh-huh.
And she just started school last week.
Did she see some pictures you took? She knows, she starts to understand?
Yeah, I mean, we trying all the time to keep like that kind of basic information that we are from Syria, we are from Aleppo. It's very hard really to control or like to give them that understanding, because we live now in London. They speak, most of their language now is English. So there is part of our identity which we need to keep, and we need them to know about this.
Yeah.
So far she knows like where are we from, and she like she saw some of the parts of the film, like when we get married, when she was born, like the nice moments of that, when they were painting the bus. And like she knows a little bit about what's happening, because what she catching like from the news and from what we are talking about, but she not like fully understand what was happening. She knows that there's a film called For Sama, and she's so excited about this. She joined us in BAFTA, in the Oscar, but she doesn't really like, I think, I mean, she needs some time more, like until she would be understanding, like really where is she and who is she and how we like ended up with us here. It's still like very confusing for her and for even like her younger sister to understand like all of this complicity.
This, because in the movie there are so many terrible scenes, but one especially is when this mother discovers the boy under her son, which is dead.
Yeah.
So at such a time, how do you feel? You just decide to film it because it's important to show it? It's always this dilemma, showing it or helping or...
Yeah, I mean, you know, when at that time, there's something totally different, because I was talking with these people and I didn't know that I will be survive. And like anyone who lives under that situation, you can't see like, I mean, you see hope for 1 second, but for like next, for the future, you can't imagine that you will be like really survive and you will get out. So for me, I was like, we are all dead in this place. And I have this camera, I have this like tool or like way of documenting this and filming this. So for me, this was the only thing I can do for them and for myself and for all of us. So I had to do this. I had no other option. In so many places, I wanted to turn the camera off and like run out, or like I was literally collapsing behind the camera. But that's the only thing I can do for them. And now when I'm thinking about this, I really like believe that if I knew at that time that I would be out, maybe I will never like film so many of the things that you've seen already in the film. But the experience of that, like that, we are all in this, we are all like, maybe we will be killed or something. So this is the thing why I think I got all that strength that I have to do this, you know? I don't know if that's clear.
Yeah, but this makes me think. So you say if you knew you would get out, maybe you wouldn't have filmed all this. This is a very...
Yeah, because I mean, you can't think about these people as you are the survivor and they are not, and that's why you're filming them. I was living in that situation. I had
Yeah.
experience of everything is happening in front of me. Like, I mean, not just as a filmmaker, but also as a woman, as a mother. All these scenes for me is something, it might be me tomorrow. It might be after like 1 minute. And you can see how death is like, not just like it's around, it's everywhere. And for this reason, I think you can like feel that this is maybe you tomorrow. That's why I have to film this today. And I think really, I mean, if I know that now, like I will be back then, maybe so much of these things I will be kind of like scared to film, or very emotional to film, or even like, I don't know, it's really very hard to talk about it now, but
Yeah.
it's like, unfortunately, this is still happening. And that's also bringing another like element to the whole story. I'm still like doing this. I'm talking now about this because I'm hoping that I can able to do something. Because if after all of this we weren't able to change these people's life, if we weren't able like to hold Assad on accountability, like why are we doing all of this? Why we even like survive?
Mhm. I will go on with that point about what's for the future. But this filming, did it give you meaning and strength, a purpose, a
Yeah,
sense of meaning why you're living there?
of course, yes. But at the end of the day, we're looking after like we're looking at 9 years of everything that happened and still happening, and the world has watched that before and is watching now, and no one is doing anything. I'm talking more about the politicians, the people who are decision makers, governments. I mean, with everything's happening, there is no real will to hold Assad back, or like to stop the Russian forces, or I mean, the whole world is watching these aircrafts like bombing these areas. So what they are really do, I mean, of course, for me as like as Wad, as one individual, yeah, I'm able like to feel the importance of why I was there and how important is it to keep this filming out. But are we just doing this for films? Are we doing this for make people like just look at this and that's it? Or we need really like a real change on the ground. We need to see like Syria in different picture of what we are seeing today and tomorrow.
Your I will be blunt. Your camera was a weapon, but it
Yeah,
didn't win the war.
yeah. I mean, I still believe that this is a very long battle. Like we are not finishing now, and I still believe that nothing will last forever. So I know that although we see now that Assad is still in his palace and everything is fine, but Syria as like under this picture is literally there's no country, there's no like citizen anymore. There's like Syria now in the face of like in the head of all of the world is about refugees, it's about prisoners, it's about people who've been killed, people who still injured until today, children who are living until today in camps. So I mean, I don't think he won even, like, so we're still like looking for real change, looking for accountability, for justice for the Syrian people. And I think, I mean, whatever happened next, but I will keep fighting for that day.
How can you continue fight? I mean, people say maybe, is this a political, are you an activist? Is this a political movie, documentary? What should it be? What can you do?
Yeah, I mean, what I can do, what I'm doing now, I can tell people more about the story. I can go and meet people, meet politicians, meet decision makers, trying to like be useful from every platform I can gain because I'm a filmmaker and talk about that. Yeah, the film is political. Of course, it's political because that's what's happening in Syria. It's not political. It's not like about human. It's about the truth of what happened, and that's what happened. If the world like doesn't want to see this, so I don't know which world we are living in. Like it's more about like the future of all of us, not just about Syria. But if hospitals in Syria now it's okay to be bombed, that's next day it will be okay in the UK and in the US, and that's what we can see now from like this the political situation in so many other countries like Russia and the US, and how everything is still happening like in Syria. I mean, this is a shame not for us, it's a shame for the whole world because this is still happening until today. And the world knows about that, and no one can say after now, like they don't know.
Yes, but maybe the world doesn't want to know, and that's the tragedy.
yeah, we have to do what we can do, and I really like my only belief that we're doing the right thing. We stood with the right things. We are seeking for better future for us, for our children, and that's our right. And the only belief which make me like feel always okay after everything I'm struggling with, that nothing will last forever. How long the regime will keep like in power? Like at the end, the Assad is a criminal, and one day we will see that court in any courthouse that yeah they are being held for accountability for all the crimes that they've done, and not just Assad regime. Every actor on the Syrian ground, they have to be like held for accountability.
You are now in the West. Huh? Are you not, because of your message, are you not afraid that the regime will come after you? I mean, the Mukhabarat is very strong, the security.
Yeah, I mean, they might do that, and they don't even like care, you know, if they did it or not. We had like so many stories about Syrian who were outside and they've been killed or kidnapped, and no one knows anything about them. But for me, like, I should have been killed 3 years ago, 4 years ago when I was in Aleppo. So I really like don't care. My life is worth than the story. So I mean, I have to keep telling the story. I have to do what I have to do, because this is just not just about me, not about my family. It's about a whole country. It's about the future of all of us.
One maybe silly question is, you were at the Oscars, you wore this dress.
Yeah.
What was written on it? Can you explain it?
I mean, it's not silly question. It's very great question, and that's also how we were. We were just trying to do like to say something, to do a statement in a place we might not be able like to get up to the stage, and that's what exactly happened. I wrote on my dress in Arabic, we dare to dream and we never regret dignity. And I wanted to get that message to the whole world, because after everything the regime was trying to do, we were just trying to have hope, to have a future. And for me, you know, like what I've read, what it was written on my dress, it was my message to the whole world, my message to Sama, to the whole Syrian people, to the whole world.
Do people in Syria are proud of you? They know what you're doing? You get reactions of it?
I mean, I was really surprised of how people like supporting the film and the message and everything I'm doing. And sometimes I feel like really like, I mean, so everything I've done was in one hand, like something I'm really proud of, but I'm so happy more with the attention that the film got from the Syrian people, the hope that I see in people messages and people like faces when they talk about it. So, I mean, it was something really over what I expect. I did just what I have to do, but I was like very overwhelmed by the amazing reaction from the Syrian people.
Now, you know, we remembered 1 year the war started, and the uprising and the repression started. 5 years, the world seemed to forget. Now we are going to 10 years, and it's still going on, and the world is still looking away.
I don't know what we can do, but what we can do, if it's been like 10 years or 20 years or 100 years, we will never like forget, and we will keep trying to do our best for that, because this is not just like a story, you know, it's a life, it's a country, it's a whole like nation who's been like displaced and killed. So, I mean, individually, I don't know what is the solution, but I will do everything I have to do.
Are you dreaming to going back one day?
Of course, yes, and that's the main dream which make me still alive and make me do what I'm doing, because I believe, you know, that whatever happened, we dreamed one day of freedom and of dignity, and one day we will gain this, and that will be when we will be in Aleppo.
I have one more very practical question. There is a composer you worked together with in for making this film. She's coming to, or he's coming to Ghent. How was it working with
Nanita?
Nanita?
So yeah, I mean the whole team of the film was something. I mean, I was very lucky to have them all. And Anita is very talented composer. She's doing like an amazing work, not just for summer, but even like her next coming films now are like going everywhere because her amazing like taste and like feeling. She cares really about every detail of this film, and she worked with us for the whole 2 years after we start like editing, me and my co-director Edward Watts. And I mean, like for me, every part of the film was something being done by care and by love from everyone, like Nanita, who did the composer, like the composing of the film, the editing of the film with by Chloe and Simon, our executive producers, our like production manager, and everyone who worked on this project. They weren't working on just a project as they usually do. They really done with the story with me personally, and I think like really this film was made by love. And for all of them, I just want to like say how grateful I am for all their work and thank them all of them, and especially Nanita.
Because they knew that they were working on something very special, I think. I'm
Yeah,
quite sure of
I
it.
mean, I was before I do for Sama, I wasn't like, you know, we have this idea about like the West. They just look at things as business or other projects, but they don't really like want deeply to go through this because it's complicated, because it's like very far away. But what I felt in For Sama was something totally different. People want to know these details. People really need to care about these details, and they want to be honest with the audience. And what that's something like really pushed me a lot to continue For Sama. And I think, I mean, this experience for me is something like I'm so proud of, and I'm really like great to have that opportunity with everyone who worked on this film. And without them all, I will never be able like to do For Sama as it is now. So I'm really like so grateful for all of them.
Thank you, Waad, to speak with me. I was very honored.
Thank you so much, and thanks also for caring about the film and for like all the support that that you are doing now. And I mean, I hope everyone who will watch the film in the festival will be really like uh, understanding what's happening, and also to following our impact campaign Action for Sama.